You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back to Real Talk Texas. Today in the studio, we've got Lisa Richardson with Keller Williams, and she's an expert. She's one of the top agents for Keller Williams in the country. She's number 4 in the nation with Keller Williams as far as sales volume. So we've got a real expert here to give us the advice. She owns 26 of her own rental properties, and she has a management company to help investors. She's got a group of investors ready to buy. And before the break, we talked about, you should get 10 rental properties. For the investors out there, you want to make sure you reach out to us and let us know that you're looking to buy an investment property. Go ahead and send a text to 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. Lisa's a real expert, and she can help guide you to find that right house to buy. As an investor, she can help you with the management side of it. I can help you with the loan side of it as well. If you own more than 10 rental properties and you still want to buy properties, I can do that for you as well. A lot of lenders out there don't have that program. We have the Make Sense Mortgage, so we can do that. It's we make our own rules on that, so it has to just be a loan that makes sense, and we can do those. Lisa, if someone's listening out there and they haven't bought their first rent house yet, it's pretty scary. I just closed a loan yesterday for a client that it was her first rental house, and one of the things she said was she was signing the piece of paper, she goes, "I'm so nervous. I've never been a landlord before." How do you take that fear out of someone?
Well, normally if you have one or two, I would say if you're a very strong personality and you don't mind confrontation, then go ahead and try it. Try to manage it yourself. More than 2 or 3, it becomes a real headache because you get the calls of, hey, my garbage disposal's messed up, the AC's leaking, they used to put the hot water heaters up in the attic, and I've got water coming through the ceiling on the first floor. You don't know what to do. You're going to grab the phone book. You're going to call someone. They're going to charge you an overpriced amount because it's in the middle of the night. Where we have programs where we have a set rate with our vendors, and they'll come out within 30 minutes, take care of the problem. You're not even interrupted. You're not even woken up from your sleep. And
a management fee is probably just a fraction of what the rent is.
It's 10%. 10%. But, if you buy with us, you're going to buy right the first time. You're going to have that profit in there it's going to pay for itself. The tenant's going to pay for it.
And you're going to help the person with their numbers to make sure they're buying right, that it is a good investment, right?
Absolutely. They at least need to be making $200 a month profit or it's not worth it.
And the other thing I always say is you got to look at the whole picture and remember, it's not going to be rented out 100% of the time, all the time. As a lender, we take out 25%. So we're saying it's going to be occupied 75% of the time, qualify you there, and that's a conservative approach. So if you're there, it pretty much ensures that you'll be profitable, right?
Yeah, that is very conservative. I want to talk to y'all about that too. I think that needs to loosen up a little bit because most of the rent homes can lease out within about 2 weeks. And if they buy with us, I typically ask, depending on who the other realtor is, I can normally ask, hey, would it be all right if I went ahead and put a for rent sign in the yard? Before we even close, I've got tenants that we've already shown the property to. We've already ran their backgrounds, make sure that they're good quality tenants. I like to walk them outside to their car because that tells me something about a person. If their car's trashed, chances are that's how they're going to keep your property. So we go in depth a lot more than your average.
And that's the key, I think. I mean, just because someone says, hey, I want to rent that property doesn't mean you have to say yes.
That's right.
I'll rent to you.
That's right.
You can be selective as a landlord, and you need to know that. And I think that's part of the fear is you don't know when you buy a rental property, you're not real sure who that renter's going to be. If they're going to trash your house, cause more problems. There's a lot of things there. But if you get good tenants, they're responsible. I know a lot of successful investors that have rent houses, and it really makes sense for them.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about first-time buyers. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We talked about some bond programs and things that are available. But the other thing I like to tell people is, look, when I'm qualifying a young couple or something like that, or a young person that's getting ready to buy a house, they're just getting out of college and they're getting into the market, I talk to them about, number one, savings plan. When I bought my first house, I can still say I'm pretty proud of the way I did it. I mean, I was working full-time as a rep for JVC in Columbus, Ohio, And I was a sales rep. I would sell to the TV appliance stores, and I was a factory rep. And we just couldn't get ahead. It was just enough for us to make the rent. We had young kids at home. We could just never really get to that point. And then my brother told me about this place, Roadway, that allowed you to go in as what they call casual labor. And I would work from 7 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, throwing boxes. And I made $75 every time I did that. So what I would do is I would take that check and put it in a separate bank, not even the same bank, so I can't transfer the money back and forth.
Yeah,
because I was good about saving money if I can't touch it. And I started to save my money. And over a 1-year period, we got enough money for a down payment on a house. And it made me feel really good when I picked up my wife and took her across the threshold in our first house we never thought we would get, because I knew what it took to get there. And I think sometimes we lose that with some of the people out there that haven't had to go through that piece of it. So it's still there. It gives you a lot of pride. If you want to save your money, put together a house savings plan. That's a great way to get your first down payment. And for first-time buyers, some people think, well, I need to put 20% down on a house or 10% down. Well, FHA loans, it's only 3.5%. And a lot of times, especially on first-time buyers, do you see sellers contributing large amounts toward closing costs, setting up the escrows, and all the other associated type of closing dollars that you need to bring as a buyer?
Absolutely. I also think there's a misconception, like you were mentioning, the 20% down. A lot of different cultures believe that you have to put 50% down. I'll have a family of 6 or 7, and it's a group family together purchasing a home, and they're saying, well, we've saved $100,000 to put down. And I tell them, it doesn't really pay to do that. Cash is king. Keep your money. And we have our little mortgage calculators, and we'll show them, look, you only need 3.5% down or 5% down, 10% if you want to. But the rest is just, in my opinion, throwing the money away. Use it for new furniture or something else.
Well, the other part is, if you look at a home purchase, which is the right thing to do. Right now, if you're renting, you really need to be thinking about buying, because I know that, and all the experts are saying, housing values in North Texas and Dallas-Fort Worth are going nowhere but up over the next few years, especially with the influx of people. There's going to be a shortage of housing, and that supply and demand just naturally drives prices up. So now is the time to buy. Rates are still extremely great. I mean, when I first started doing loans in 1999, I was doing 7.5% rates.
And that was good. Gosh.
That was good back then. I mean, people were happy with that. Subprime loans were in double digits. But today, we're still down in that 5% range, or just below or just above, depending on how much you put down and what kind of credit you have, all those things. But still, I mean, I had a client that I had pre-qualified, and her loan was going to be $180,000. And that was back in March. Well, the rates were in the 3s. Okay. Mm-hmm. She called me up the other day and said, how bad is it? And rates had gone up a full point and a quarter. I said, it costs you another $110 a month. That was a much better response for her, because that was fine. Mm-hmm. For her. She said, oh, really? It's not that bad. If I had said, rates went up a point and a quarter, and then she would have said, oh, no, it's terrible. It's kind of crazy. People get this rate thing in their mind. I always talk payments. What is it really going to cost me? Because that's what matters, is how much does it cost you every month to make your house payment? And are you comfortable in that payment, or are you stretching too far? So, yeah, I mean, as far as first-time buyers, how do you get in touch with all of those people? As far as first-time, do you put on any seminars, or how do they reach out to you?
We've been very fortunate that most of our leads come from people that we've already sold houses to, but on occasion, we'll take our renters, because we do have a course that we put them through. So if you pull their credit and they don't qualify at this time, we don't say no. We say when. And what we're going to do is we'll put them in a rent property. I put them on a drip campaign, and 30 to 60 days before that lease is up, I'm going to shoot them back to you, and let's try again. Let's see where we're at now. Let's highlight the damages. Let's get rid of them. Let's eliminate them, and let's set a goal. Everybody writes their goals, don't you? In New Year's, you sit down and you say, this year is going to be the year. And then halfway through the year, you forget about it. We don't. We'll check back with them. We'll make sure if getting a home is on your to-do list, whether it's your 1-year goal, your 5-year goal, we're here to help you. We're gonna kick you into gear and make sure it happens for you.
Well, that's great, and we feel the same way at our office as far as working with people. I don't tell people no. I just say not yet.
When?
Because you can, if you've got a professional giving you an advice, you can take a credit report. I can take a credit report, and sometimes I can make adjustments in a day or a week, because maybe it's that their credit score is a 585, and so they can't get a loan. But then they've got one little credit card that they've got that's over its limit. I had a client the other day. I moved their credit score 35 points because they had one credit card. They didn't have much credit. They only had a couple trade lines, but that one credit card was a $500 line and it had $585 on it. And here's a little trick for you listeners out there. If you pay it off completely, it's not going to really help your score that much. I advise them leave $10 on that credit card, and their score went up 35 points, and they were able to qualify to get into a home. So, I mean, there are tricks that we know from a professional level that we can help you with. If you've been told no by a lender, call my office, because I'm gonna figure out a way to get you to yes. And like you said, Lisa, it may not be today, but it may be 6 months down the road. It's great to have you on our team, so we can refer these clients to you, and you can find them a place to rent for a little while they're trying to get things fixed. So I appreciate you coming in the studio today. We've had Lisa Richardson in here. She's an expert for investor properties. If you've got a property that maybe you're in a pre-foreclosure position where you're getting notifications that you're in trouble, make sure you reach out to us again at 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. Send that text to the show. We can help you buy a house, sell your house, help you get out of the house if we're in a situation where you're pre-foreclosure. Lisa's got a team of investors ready to step up and pay cash to get you out of that situation. So thanks for joining us. You're listening to Real Talk Texas here on KLIF AM 570 News and Information.